Hey guys, Darko here and welcome back to another Halo Infinite campaign mission. I've seen a couple comments in the videos that I posted back in December that they were wondering if I could do some of the missions without the tank gun. I just thought might as well do the last two missions without the tank gun just to show you guys that it is possible to actually beat these three bosses without it. For the House of Reckoning, I'll essentially let the entire video play as this is actually kind of hard and I would actually recommend following some of my guides here and there. So let's get straight into it. To start us off, head back to the entrance of this room, kill the two Jackal snipers that spawn on either doorway before you focus on the main group of grunts and elites that come from the left hand bottom doorway. I found that using the electric grenades is actually really effective in this area as they can't really run away and they'll be constantly in a staggered position. You can use the rocket launcher that I have, but it's not necessary. You can use the BR as well in this situation just to kill the elites a lot quicker, as well as some of the grunts when their shields actually go down. Make sure you have full shields here to at least guarantee a following checkpoint. You want to then head towards the opposite side of the room. Enemies will spawn from both doorways. Just try to clear them out as slowly as possible as they're pretty much all grunts as well as a couple of jackals. All the grunts are with like disruptor weapons, so you don't want to get too close or stay out in the open. Try to direct impact them with your rocket launcher as it only takes about 2 shots if you do. If not, it will take about 3 to maybe 4 at the most sometimes. Try to at least clear one side of the room here as this will actually guarantee a checkpoint. Make sure your shields are full just to make sure this checkpoint occurs. I'm just going to fast forward the footage here as it's just pretty much me clearing out all the enemies here. You shouldn't face any real troubles apart from maybe the final wave where there's just a bunch of brutes that spawn in. Just remember that they will spawn in the side doorways at the back of this room here. Just try to get to one of these doorways before the doors open so you can actually ambush them at that doorway just to clear them out as quickly as possible. This just saves you a lot of trouble and just makes your life a little bit easier in finishing out this room. When you finish the wave with Dracals and Grunts, head towards the opposite side of the room again and try to ambush all the enemies at this doorway here. Try to get back here as quickly as possible as you're able to use the same electric grenade trap again against all these enemies. This just makes it so much faster and easier in clearing out this entire room. Again, fast forward footage again just to make this process a little bit faster. And essentially just clear out this entire room and then just head towards the elevator. It's pretty easy, nothing too stressful here. Make sure you at least get a full shield before you leave this room so you at least guarantee a checkpoint in the following battle as you don't want to keep repeating this fight over and over again. Moving on to the second room, you want to set up 2 sensors at these 2 doorways. Try to shoot a couple of rocket launchers as these doorways start to open up, as there's a bunch of grunts and skirmishers. After you fire the 2 rockets at this doorway over here, turn around and start chucking electric grenades at this doorway. This will make it so that the enemies are actually stun locked in this room. If you're able to, try to reload your rocket launcher to start firing off a couple more shots just to clear out this entire area. This will just make it so that you just keep progressing the level quicker and quicker. This entire room is not too difficult as long as you memorize all the enemy spawn locations. After clearing all the grunts, you know that there's a bunch of brutes that are going to be spawning at the far left doorway as well as the side rooms to the right and left hand sides of the room. The right and left hand sides will be the skewer enemies, while the guys at the bottom of the left hand doorway will be a bunch of charger brutes. So try to clear out the charger brutes first before you start focusing on the skewer enemies. The skewer guys will actually stay on the platform and won't really move around too much. Just shoot a couple rockets at them just to kill them with the wall or your rockets themselves. The only thing you need to worry about in this room is actually the 2 hunters that spawn in the final wave. You just need to be at least focused on them as well as trying to clear out as many enemies as possible. Try to stay at the very top of this building where I'm at. This at least allows you to at least break line of sight and make sure you have a lot of cover. Also, you want to make sure you clear out the hunters as quickly as possible as they are the most difficult enemies and will actually kill you in a couple shots. I'm just going to leave this part in here. I just skipped a bit forward just to at least skip to the more killing the hunters bit. But just skip to this time frame here to at least just move on towards the first boss encounter, the Blademaster. The rocket launcher is not really too effective in killing the hunters as their health are just pretty much doubled at this point. So just try finding something you can do. If you can actually hit them in the back, do so. If you can break line of sight and try to get behind them as well, that really helps. But you can see me just pretty much just taking my time. I don't need to rush it because I just need to at least guarantee that there's at least one more enemy that's not a hunter, maybe a jackal or a grunt, so I can at least get my shields back, to at least guarantee a checkpoint to occur when it actually spawned into the Blademaster Fight. I had to play this part really slowly as I didn't want the Jackal to die with the Hunter at this very last minute. I know that I don't have full shields in the moment and I want to guarantee it. So just try to separate them if possible, try to at least draw one of them out so you can at least focus on the Hunter first before you just melee the Grunt or Jackal or whatever you actually left alive. You need to make sure you have a checkpoint here, otherwise you're going to have to repeat this entire fight or the third wave again. And then you saw how long that actually took me with this double speed as well. Before you start the Blademaster Fight, you want to actually stack up all the fusion coils in this corner here again, like I did in my last video. This just makes it so that you do as much damage to the shields or the Blademaster as possible. So as long as its shields will go down pretty much in the first couple minutes, this at least guarantees that this fight moves a lot faster and you don't need to keep facing him over and over again. Try to do as much damage as possible to him. As long as his shields are down, it'll only take a couple, 2 to maybe 3 shots with the rocket launcher directly to just kill him instantly. This fight took me one of the longest ones as I just kept him dying when I was just trying to get his shields down. So I'll just essentially fast forward to 2 attempts that I did. The first one was one of my longer ones, while the second one I found that was actually a quicker way to do it with a shield as well as a couple of smart strategies. I'll just show you both of them. I know that you're actually able to glitch out both the Blademaster and Ashram's AIs, but I didn't want to do it just to at least show you guys the legit way of doing it instead of just using a cheat strategy where you just make the AI just not work essentially. What I recommend is actually using the glitch strategies, as this just saves you a lot of time and effort and you don't need to just stress about it. But this is just for you guys who actually just want me to actually suffer a bit. Just to actually see what happens when you actually face the bosses properly. So here you go. Just a tip here, make sure you use the hole in the ground right here or the second one on my left hand side or my right at this point. Pretty much keep using this hole in the ground. This will actually mess with his AI. If he gets hit down here, he'll actually just jump straight up sometimes. But you can actually use that time to actually hit him in the back with a melee or a rocket launcher directly, just to do as much damage to him. Try to keep your distance from him if you're away from the hole. Make sure you use electric grenades wherever possible, just to make sure he's staggered and actually stands still for a second. This first completion is really slow, as I was just still getting used to the mechanics of this boss. If you want a faster method, skip to the second one in this time frame right here, so you at least get a little bit more faster and more consistent completion, as well as guaranteeing you to at least get a checkpoint before facing Ashram. Moving on to the second completion, this can be done a lot quicker as long as you actually get his shield down pretty much immediately in the first opening seconds. You don't want to at least let him actually hide away in the shadows. Try meleeing him as much as possible, as this actually does a lot more damage to the shields than the rocket launcher. I found just meleeing him and actually hitting him actually destroys his shields really quickly. If you're able to do that and direct impact him twice with the rocket launcher from a distance, you should be able to get a checkpoint as well as kill him instantly. I essentially kept on using the same strategy again. Keep using the hole in the ground here if he's actually still alive, and just kite him around. It pretty much actually can instantly kill him in this first opening section, as long as you do as much damage as possible to him. I keep using the ground pound upgrade on my grapple hook, as this just has the electric effect, so at least it allows me to at least stun him, and then I get a quick melee in just to make sure my shields are full. Again, a slow grind if you don't manage to kill him in the first couple of seconds, but either way, this just shows you guys, yep, you can at least still kill him, just slowly. It just takes a bit of time here and there. Moving on to the second boss fight, Ashram. To start this fight off, you want to actually shoot a rocket launcher at his feet, just to at least delay him, to at least get into some cover. You want to at least bounce him around the rim a little bit here and there with your rocket launcher, and just slowly take him apart, essentially. It's a slow boss fight. Try to at least get a couple melee hits in before you start moving throughout the phases, as this will allow more checkpoints to occur, and at least be more consistent with the fight. So you don't need to keep repeating the same fight over and over again. Make sure you keep using the sensor beacons to at least be aware of where he is at all times. I've heard from the comments down below in my previous videos that you're able to kill Ashram in the first phase, but I haven't been able to replicate it. Try to keep using the corridors in the middle here, as this will actually just keep him in a closed area, as well as just, keep staggering him. The best tip I can give you with this boss fight is just take it slow. There's no rush to it, and you'll be okay. As long as you just keep your shields up and make sure you're always going to keep getting those checkpoints. Again, try to avoid some of the small boxes around the room anyway, just because, you know, rocket launcher and back blast. Anyway, I'm just going to let this entire fight play out like I did in my previous video. Apart from that, I just can only wish you guys the best of luck when you're dealing with him. Hope you guys had the same amount of luck I did in this footage anyway. And just 2 times speed this footage, as this is just me just fighting the boss over and over again. It's kind of going to get a bit repetitive, and I don't think you guys need to see the entire thing. But I might as well just show you guys how I actually dealt with him with using the rocket launcher only. Gonna just slow the footage down here. Just want to make notes of the final phase of him when he's charging at you. Trying to make sure you keep direct impacting him, as this does the most amount of damage. Again, make sure you use the small little corridors in the middle here, as he only has one way to go. If you're able to make him charge from one end to the other using this corridor, it will be really useful, as well as give you enough time to just keep constantly doing enough damage to him. He's a really easy boss at this point, as long as you keep your distance from him. Make sure you keep your distance from him. You don't want him to actually just flying, gravity harm you anyway. As soon as you guys pretty much killed him, that's pretty much the end of the House of Reckoning. I hope you guys enjoyed this repeat mission. I just wanted to make it a point that even though you don't need the tank gun, it makes the fights a lot easier if you do have it. So if it's possible and you want to do this called a LASO run, get the tank gun. I highly recommend it. It makes the boss fights and essentially all the common enemies so much easier to deal with. Anyway, I hope to see you guys in the following video where I just complete the Silent Auditorium. In that video, I only showed 2 fights, the Hunter fight as well as the final boss fight essentially. Those are the only 2 things that are really concerning inside that entire mission, I believe. So I hope to see you guys in the following video. It should be out tomorrow at the same time. This has been your boy, Dark Hope. I hope to see you guys then. See ya.